Perfect. Thanks, Anna. So, I'm just going to share my screen with you here, folks. So, I'm going to kind of break this down to two parts for the next few minutes, guys. So, I'm going to talk to you about Selfie, kind of benefits that we got as a school community from Selfie, and then I'm going to talk for a while about digital assessment and different forms of assessment that we use here in the school. So just a little bit, just introduce myself first. So my name is Michael Marr. I'm a teacher in St. Kevin's now this is my ninth year. I'm a teacher of history, as you can probably tell from what's going on in the background behind me. But I've always had an interest in the use of digital technology. And 2 years ago, I got an AP1 post. So I'm in charge of digital technology and digital learning in St. Kevin's as well. A little bit about our school. So we've 700 students. So we're situated in rural West Wicklow. I think 90% of our students are bused into the school. So we're a very rural community here, with students coming from both Wicklow and Kildare. We're a one-to-one school, so all the students in our school have access to a device, and we've been one-to-one now for 9 years. We're one of the first in the country to go one-to-one, and we found that very beneficial. And we pride ourselves on our digital proficiency and our willingness to try new things in regards to digital learning. Just a little Twitter post here. So where we've gone essentially and where we're going to, that's the first computer we ever had in St. Kevin's. Now, as I was saying, picture on the right-hand side, all students now have access to devices in our school. We would have completed, so we did our Selfie and got our accreditation for Selfie back in 2022. And recently now we're one of only 10 schools in the country that have been recognised by Microsoft. So we're a Microsoft Showcase school. That is the print off from the Irish Independent, giving recognition for that. And I said, Selfie, we would have completed a survey. We're just discussing beforehand towards the end of COVID, but we found it extremely beneficial and gave us a good insight actually into our school community, and opened our eyes to some things that maybe we didn't know before we began the survey. So just a few things that we found beneficial from our Selfie results. So firstly, we were in the process of developing a new digital learning plan back in 2022, but the results from Selfie helped us massively with that. The way we worked up to that point, our junior cert students were all one-to-one, but we sort of left it to teachers themselves if they wanted to use devices in Leaving Cert. What we found from the responses that we got, that actually the senior students actually really wanted to use the devices in 5th and 6th year. So we made a big push afterwards with the full buy-in from staffs, that we'll use the devices a lot more with senior students, and that's as a response from the Selfie results. And the last thing is we've developed a one-stop shop, a thing called a digital staff room. And on here, I'll show you that in a few minutes, but on that we have a section where we have videos made by different teachers in the school, kind of short snippet videos, maybe 3 or 4 minutes long, but showing teachers how to do different aspects, be it on OneNote or be it on Teams. But we find that very useful, particularly for new teachers who are coming to the school, that we have that repository of videos there essentially for them to use, that they can get up to speed essentially very quickly with things in St. Kevin's. That's an example. So we use SharePoint and to create this, an example of a few of the videos that teachers can see. And some of the feedback we got from teachers, I was discussing this with them recently, but I suppose the ease of use, we found Selfie very, very easy to use, that it wasn't lumber, so it just worked perfectly and smoothly for the teachers. And the fact that the questions for us were designed perfectly for different questions for junior cert students, senior cycle students, teachers, management, we found that very useful. And then the results, they're superb, the results and the breakdown, the results that we got afterwards. And I said, we've developed certain things from those results, which I'm going to touch on a little bit later on. Just a couple of things before I go into the assessment. So some of the digital tools that we use here in St. Kevin's that we find very useful, become kind of a mainstay for every teacher in our school. So I would have touched on this already. We have a thing called a digital staff room. So this is kind of a very useful teacher. It's kind of it's a one-stop shop essentially for teachers. It's where they'll go in the morning and everything they need essentially will be there. So the school calendar is there, the cover is there, any cover work that's left by teachers is there. If you want a referral for a student, if you want to send a referral to the year head, that's done through there. If you have an issue with your device, you do a referral through that. So I'm just going to share my screen with you here. This is what our digital staff room looks like. So all teachers have access to this. You can see the different headings up at the top: school calendar, cover works, any news that's going on in the school. That's all listed there. Applying development, SEN. So if you want information about students that are on the SEN register, that's in there. Digital learning. They'll say if there's an issue with devices. The videos I was talking to you about earlier on are all in there. And that was all made on SharePoint. It took a while to make it to start, but we're so reliant on that now, essentially, that it's great that it's a one-stop shop for you to go for everything that you need, essentially, for your day of teaching. So we find that very useful, particularly as we've grown so much as a school in recent years. Our next thing is, and this is such an important thing for us at school, is OneNote. We use this for probably 95% of our classwork in the school, where we become so reliant on it. We find this such a useful tool in St. Kevin's. And within OneNote, we've created a thing called the OneNote calendar, which I'll show you in a second. So I've mentioned already that OneNote is the bread and butter. It's so important to us. And every teacher in the school, for each group that they have, sets up a Teams group initially, which then links into a OneNote folder for each class. And within that, then we have a thing called the OneNote calendar. So every teacher will be given a copy of this, and they add the OneNote calendar then into each class group. So first years, second years, third years. And within that, then the teachers can put up the work that they've covered in class, can put hyperlinks to different things in OneNote from that, and can also put up the homework up there as well. And where we find that particularly useful is, say, if you have students who are away at a football match, or students that might be out for a few days for whatever reason, that they can see exactly what's done in class. They can catch up on the work. The PowerPoints will be there. The work that was done in class will be there. Their homework will be there. So there's no reason for them to be left behind, I suppose, as such. So this is a screen grab I would take and say of my first year. I know it's a very busy screen there, but that's my first year history calendar. You can see all the different sections on the left-hand side, but that's just a snippet I took from October, and you can see the different days I have them. I have them on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. The work is put in there. The underlined blue things are clickable links, where if the students click on that, it brings them right to that page for work. And we've got a complete buy-in from all teachers on this. So when they leave my class of students, they'll have their work for history, but then they might go to home ec, which is the room next door. The home ec teacher also uses the OneNote calendar, so the same thing. So it's sort of seamless and very good actually for cover work. So say if a teacher is out for whatever reason and they're able to do it, they'll put up their work for that class. If they're going away, they'll put up the work on OneNote. So students know when they come in for a cover class, there's a different teacher there, they'll know most likely not the work for that class will be up on OneNote, and they can kick straight into it. Next thing then is I'm going to focus then on assessment, which is the main part of this talk. So we're obviously very reliant on digital technology in St. Kevin's, but particularly since COVID, we've made a big effort. We've worked very hard to incorporate different forms of digital assessment and digital feedback into our teaching and learning in St. Kevin's. So one thing that I use a lot is I use Forms, Microsoft Forms, but I often use it for very short kind of snippets of quizzes, essentially. So I create 3-minute quizzes.
Kevin, oh, sorry, Michael.
Yeah.
Could I interrupt you for a sec? I think
Yeah.
maybe we're on a slide behind now. It might be my screen. Apologies for interrupting you if it is.
No.
We're on the OneNote and OneNote calendar slide. Oh, well, I am. Sorry. Not,
yeah, and it looks like Michael's actually frozen there as well. I'm not sure if it's you're yeah.
Now we can hear you perfectly. So it just seems to be the visual. If you want to unshare and share again, maybe.
I will. Okay.
Just and apologies for interrupting you, Michael.
No, I'm glad you did it. Yeah. Okay.
Just to see if that corrects itself.
Can you see digital assessment now?
No, interestingly, the screen is gone dark for me anyway.
Yeah.
Is that same? Yeah. Now we did actually. I was on a Teams call earlier today. I don't know if there's a sort of a Teams update going on, because this has happened a couple of times. I don't know if other people have had similar experience at the moment. Do you want to unshare and try it again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the alternative is if we have the slides, we can always present, and then because we can hear you perfectly, Michael, it might.
No problem. Yeah, yeah. There seems to be an issue with my Teams because I see you're all frozen actually now, and I'm looking at.
Okay.
Do you want me to leave and come back into Teams maybe and see will that?
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah.
I mean, if Kate, if you have the slides, we can always put them up, and then you could talk away.
Yeah, but I know you were trying to share as well your OneNote calendar, Michael. So maybe it would be worth trying to leave and come back. But I have the slides ready to go if necessary.
Yeah, so I'll come straight back in. Yeah, I'll try that.
Okay, no problem. Sure. If it's okay, then what I might do is just very quickly show you the academy that I spoke about at the beginning of the call. So
Anna, you've gone a bit glitchy there as well. It's black at the minute for you sharing as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I love technology. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's okay.
Is it coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Well, look, I won't flick around too much, but so in the last couple of years, as part of the Digital Schools Awards and the awards for Selfie, we have been creating this. It's a repository of good practice examples from schools that have been through the program. And it was developed, as I said, as a pan-European program, but it was also developed around the areas of Selfie. So you'll recognize here along the sort of the menu each of the different sort of themes within Selfie, and there's also different languages that are available there. But you'll see there are examples from Selfie surveys, collaboration and networking, infrastructure and equipment, etc., etc. So we actually have developed this over time with the support of all the schools. So all of the content is generated by the schools themselves. And in the section on assessment, which we're sharing today, we have approximately 13 examples in the English language. And you'll recognize many of these schools. They're Irish and Scottish schools who are participating on the program. And you can access any of the content here, and they have given their approval to share this content, and any of the sort of student-related content has obviously been sort of blanked out. So I think it's something that could be of interest to many of the schools. And if you'd like to get access, just email Aoife or myself or Kate. We'll give you a login and you can go in and you can review the content. So, in this area of assessment, for example, one of the schools, Muckross Park, has shared not just how they're developing sort of assessment within the school, but also how they demonstrated this as part of their application for the award. And also that might be something that would be of interest. Many schools ask us, how are other schools, sharing examples, what's the best way to do that? And on this platform, you'll also be able to see what some schools are doing in terms of sharing of practice. So I won't go through all the detail. These were just some examples. One school actually created a really quick sort of 4 or 5 step how to create a private folder in Teams pages. Other schools are sharing different examples. So just to let you know, that resource is available. If anybody would like the access, do get in touch with us. And as I mentioned, it is available across all of these different Selfie areas, that are relevant to school digital transformation. And there might be something in there that would be of benefit to you. So, Michael, I don't know if you've managed to come back in or if you're still having any technical issues. Oh, here we go.
He's joining in now.
Hi, Michael. Oh, you're just on mute there. You're just on mute, Michael, so I don't know if you can hear us okay. Oh, now he's even more technical issues.
Yeah.
Do you want to try to log out and log back in one more time, Michael, if that's possible? Okay, sure. We'll give him another minute. Maybe this will sort of rectify itself. I don't know if anybody on today's call has some advice in terms of how this might work better, but or it's like the old thing of if the TV is not working, just plug it out and plug it back in.
Exactly.
Yeah. Strange that we had the problem earlier as well, so it must be a Teams issue.
Yeah, it did happen earlier. I see Brian has joined the principal of St. Kevin's, so perhaps he's trying to get it set up on his end as well.
Okay.
We can't unmute, can we?
No, I think Teams automatically brings you in muted, but perhaps we could.
Yeah, it's not letting me. It lets me mute, but it doesn't let me unmute.
Okay. I might just mention while Michael is trying to reconnect also that I mean, tomorrow I'm going down. I've been invited down by Ciara in the Limerick Clare ETB to share information about Digital Schools Awards with the schools. I'm really looking forward to that. And they're also inviting one of the mentor schools to present on the benefits of the program and how they've used Selfie and some of the work that they're doing. So if anybody here is from one of the ETBs or would be interested in having DSA present at maybe a network technology meeting, we'd be delighted to support. So get in touch with us if there's something we can do. We were talking earlier about this is the time of year, I suppose, that when schools are certainly starting to look at what we can do before sort of the end of the academic year in terms of sort of closing up. So if you're interested in applying for the award, or if you would like to sort of give your schools encouragement to sort of move forward, this is a really good time to start reflecting on that and perhaps looking at, sort of the final sort of stage of, the gathering of the evidence and making that application. And I just would encourage anybody who is in the process to try to sort of ahead. You may be applying under one or two areas or under all areas. Certainly, if you have any queries or if you need any support, just reach out. We'd be delighted to give you any assistance. So finally, I don't know if we can sort of manage to get Michael back in.
No, he's just, I can just see here now, he's just said in the chat, apologies, his microphone and camera won't connect.
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm having terrible technical difficulties here, but I've had to go elsewhere essentially to get sorted. So if you can bear with me for 1 minute, I'll have it up.
No problem. Thanks.
Well, I feel like I have the floor. I am something else. I mean, this is obviously whilst we're on this call, something that DSA are also looking at is obviously reflecting on the whole area of AI in education and the potential, to support schools and school leaders and teachers. But one of the areas we are certainly interested in at the moment is looking at how it could support school development planning, the whole sort of process of creating action plans, and because it's quite an intense period of reflection and how we could use Selfie to support that. So again, if there's anybody on today's call that would be interested in following up with us on that, we are, I think, looking at potentially some schools that might be interested in working with us on a project there. So
I think I'm good now when you're ready.
Very much.
Apologies about that.
Brilliant. Okay, great, Michael. That's super. Well, look, it is great to have you back. Well done. A lot of critical thinking and problem solving skills there. So well done.
Well, thank you. Yes, I wasn't prepared for this now. I didn't think this would happen.
It's great to have you back. So yeah, I'll hand back over to Michael. I don't know where we left off. I think, but carry on from where it makes sense. Yeah.
You were just we lost you before you were showing us your OneNote, your own OneNote calendar.
I think I shared the wrong screen now. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Now I think.
Brilliant.
So I'll just get up to where I was, folks. Apologies about that. I think just up here. Now, the only thing is I had a couple of things from my own personal OneNote that I wanted to share that I can't now because my device is having a bad day today, essentially, but that can happen. So yeah, I think I was up till this point. Sorry. So I was talking about digital assessment. So what I use in the class. So what I've used with Microsoft Forms is I find it very useful for creating short little snippets of quizzes. So I create maybe, say what I would have done with my fifth year history class is in the last class we were doing the Moscow show trials, Stalin show trials. So I've created a 5-question quiz that they will have done in 3 minutes. But what I do is I give them the links. This is their OneNote calendar, what it looks like. And when they come into my class, they'll open it up. That's setting their date. They'll just click start on that. It will take 3 minutes. And then I'll have to, obviously, you probably all tried forms before, but the advantage of that is I get the results straight away from that. So I can see how good their learning is from the material that I covered in the last class by using that. And then what I do, I know there's a lot of colors in this, it can nearly give you a headache, but I input then all the results from different tests into Excel. So I've created an Excel and I put in a conditional rule into that. So it color codes the results based off the results they get. So I can see straight off what students are kind of meeting their targets. Or if there's any students that maybe their average results has dropped recently, this Excel basically says it to me straight away, so I can see for whatever reason if a student hasn't been working recently, I can follow up on that, and I find that very useful too. So digital inking will be another thing that we use quite a lot in St. Kevin's. And a lot of this actually came from the feedback that we got from our selfie survey. And so I did have lots of examples on my own OneNote that I want to share with you that won't be here, but I can still talk you through. The digital inking is essentially just using your stylus pen to give feedback on OneNote. Works very well for pretty much all subject areas. And just giving a little snippet from our selfie survey here. This is from the students, and 2 things that we noticed from their feedback. We hadn't thought this was much of this, it hadn't come up to us, but obviously from students, 3.7 out of 5, that some students obviously felt there was an issue with timely feedback from teachers. So we kind of came together and thought, right, for our assessment, what can we do maybe to speed up the assessment for our students? So obviously the old days before COVID, or even well, not so much during COVID, but before COVID, was collecting up all the copies. Copies might be gone for 2, 3, 4 days if you have a large class. What we do now in St. Kevin's, so you'd never see a teacher now taking up any of the copies really. We get the students to put their work up onto OneNote. They can take a picture of it, or their work can be on OneNote. And digital inking means that the teacher gives the feedback on OneNote. There is the option in OneNote to give audio feedback. Again, I had a version of this on OneNote I can't share with you now, but there's an audio button on OneNote, and a lot of teachers use that now. So when they're correcting the students' work and they've been doing this at home, they can leave a little audio file. Essentially, it might only be 30 seconds, but it's like they're talking directly to the student. That student gets that in their OneNote, they'll click play and they've got feedback. Because sure, we've all been there, but if you're giving feedback to every individual in a class, like you might have a class of 30 students, a class has gone like that. It's very, very hard to give students kind of full feedback that you want to give on assessment for them. But the great thing with inking and with OneNote is that audio feedback means that in your own time, you can give them the feedback. Students can listen to that in their own time. They can respond back to it as well with a short audio clip. So we find that incredibly useful, and it has made it much quicker for us as teachers to give feedback. Obviously, all I need is the device with me to start correcting rather than the 30 copies, which obviously are a harder thing to bring around with you. So as I said, again, another thing that we use as a teacher, I'm probably nearly over the top of this, but I think students love stickers, absolutely love stickers and love personalized stickers. And a little thing, particularly for junior cycle students, you can never kind of overestimate the importance of that for them. And again, in OneNote, and apologies, I don't want to have I can't share these examples with you, but they'll be on the PowerPoint that will be shared with you afterwards. But you can add personalized stickers on OneNote. So when you're giving feedback to a student, you can put at the end, great work, David, great work, Sarah, whatever. And that little bit, like, that means a lot to students. It's only a small little thing for us, but just even having their name and it meant that you spend a bit of time to it matters a lot to them. And I find that excellent. And emojis as well. I use those a lot to try and stay as cool as I can with the students. But again, to respond to that, you might have heard of Bitmojis. It's where you can create a little figure that looks like yourself. That's an emoji. I use that a lot with my students. You'll see that in the PowerPoint we'll share with you later on. And I find students kind of respond very well to that, but definitely our speed for assessments and feedback now has improved with that tool. Another thing that I use this a lot, and I would have shared this with teachers in our school during a Croke Park meeting, is the use of rubrics. Sharing a rubrics onto onto an assessment for students. And it breaks down kind of areas maybe the students might need to work on and gives more kind of directed feedback to students. So this is an example of the blank one that I would use. So for Leaving Cert History, students have to do an RSR research topic. So I get them to put that up onto OneNote for me. Then I put this rubrics at the bottom of it, and I grade the different areas. Essentially, they're aiming for A's. So if I've highlighted all the A's for them, the student is flying it. Their research topic is perfect, no work needed. But they'll know straight off from looking at it if there's one area. So maybe word count. Word count is too long. If I have that colored in here, students will know straight off from looking at that, right, that's an area that I need to work on. And it's no extra time for a teacher, okay? It takes a while to make this. Once you've made it, you have that forever, essentially. And I would have made that 2 years ago, I think. I would have worked around in that 2 years ago. And then I can put that in every year, color, and straight away students then know straight off from looking at that, right, this is an area that I need to work on. It just breaks down the feedback, makes it more visual, I suppose, for the student. Another favorite of mine that I use a lot for feedback, and again, I know you've probably all heard of Kahoot and Blookit, and students are probably pestering in class about using those, and they're excellent, but I actually find the best kind of educational tool in that kind of fun game is Quizlet. So Quizlet.com, there's lots of different games within that you can use. But there's feedback to teachers from all those. So you can see the time that your students have spent on different games. And many of them are engaging games that they like doing, but they're also learning from it. They're learning their keywords from it. And there's a test element within that as well. I would have shown, I have a snippet on the PowerPoint now and it's shared with you, but I find Quizlet is definitely something to play around with. I think it's an excellent tool. And we use that always the competition for students. So what I do in my class is I'll give them, particularly for third year, say now we're preparing for a junior cert, their first and second year topics that won't be fresh in their mind. I'll often give them a Quizlet, paste in a link into their OneNote. They'll click that. They can do it in their own time at home. They can play the different games on that, play flashcards on that, and they feel like they're playing a game, which they are, but they're learning the keywords. They're kind of cementing their learning all the time. And I find that, and I'm getting feedback all the time on the work that they're doing in Quizlet. I find that an excellent tool for assessment. Then some of the challenges, obviously everything's not rosy. After seeing one of the challenges I had earlier on, the technology can sometimes can go very wrong just when you need it more than ever. But some of the other challenges we have is for new forms of assessment or anything in regards to digital devices, getting full buy-in from staff. I don't think anyone likes when something is thrown on staff with kind of no consultation. They're told, right, you need to be using this in your class, get on and use it essentially. So we don't do that in St. Kevin's. So when teachers have a good idea in St. Kevin's, what we do is that's shared in Croke Park meetings. So whenever anyone has a new initiative, say that rubrics, I would have shared that last year, and different teachers share different things that they've found useful. So we present that in a Croke Park meeting. And we might assemble a team of teachers then who might have listened to it, might be interested, maybe a small group of 5 or 6 teachers who will trial it then on different class groups. And they'll give their feedback then to it. And if we've had full buy-in, if all those teachers, that small group have enjoyed it, then at that point, we'll introduce to the wider school community. We take our time, I suppose you'd say, on initiative. And that way it means we're not trialing lots of different things that mightn't work. We know the things that we're bringing in, like the digital staff room that I mentioned earlier on, our OneNote calendar. They're things that teachers tried first. A handful of teachers found it very, very useful. Then the whole school staff essentially has bought into it. And again, I would have mentioned this beforehand, but COVID, I suppose, has really meant we have full buy-in nearly now into the kind of importance of digital devices in our classroom. There might have been a bit more of a pushback maybe against some elements of digital learning before COVID. That's not really the case anymore. To be fair, we full buy-in now from all teachers in the school. I think it really has to sell an idea, I suppose, particularly in regards to assessment. Teachers want to know, is this going to benefit me and my students, and is it going to make life easier essentially for teachers? Like that's that our well-being kind of comes into this as well. That teachers don't want kind of a new assessment method. It's going to take longer, it takes more time. No, that's not what anybody wants. And that's why when we're thinking of new methods, all of it is kind of to benefit the teacher and to benefit the student, I suppose. And then said at the next meeting, then their feedback is shared. If we find something useful, then we'll share it to all of the staff. I said, guys, apologies for the loss of my connection. My OneNote, there's plenty of sharings of my OneNote that'll be on the PowerPoint that you'll have access to. By all means, any questions that you have, ask me. Thanks a million. Thanks a million for staying during the digital difficulties that I had during that as well.
You'll be getting an online assessment from us, Michael, after the meeting, okay? Michael, that was fantastic. If there's any questions, if anybody has anything that they'd like to sort of comment on, or anything that they'd like to contribute, like put up your hand or put it in the chat. From my point, Michael, like you've done so much, and what do you want to do, like in terms of your action plan? What are the next things that you're looking at?
Yeah, I suppose a school that stops moving, I suppose, is not a good thing. So we want to continuously moving, and so something that we're looking at now, and even talking about discussing this in our next Croke Park meeting, is kind of the use of AI and making sure that we're kind of ahead of the curve of AI, because it's happening at such a lightning speed that obviously the big thing now, we're a Microsoft school here, so the big thing is Copilot that's being pushed a lot. So we're trying to make sure that we're not lagging behind, that we're kind of to the front of that, and that's all teachers are comfortable with that, because even the word AI can sometimes send a shiver through some teachers' minds, like, what is AI? Like, how is this going to benefit me? So I suppose that's kind of the next thing that we want to find. What are the uses of AI that will benefit us and benefit our school community would be the next big thing, I would think, Anna.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, actually, while you were offline, Michael, I was just mentioning that we are looking to sort of work with some schools around the use of AI, in particular around digital action planning. So from the role in your school, you have to sort of pull all of this together. You're leading in terms of, what the school priorities will be, what your, what's going to go into the school improvement plan in terms of digital. So do you see a role in that, putting aside sort of the classroom-based activities, but even in terms of your role as the having oversight over the digital action plan?
No, absolutely, yes. And it's such a kind of vital job, I suppose, in a school now, particularly when all the teachers have devices, all the students have devices now, that we're all singing off the same hymn sheet, I suppose, is kind of very important, and something actually that I find very important, and something that I really strive to make sure that we don't move away from this, is that every year you're going to have new teachers in school, and sometimes schools can maybe be a bit guilty of forgetting or assuming maybe the teachers that have come into the school, and they're new, straight away pick up and will know straight away the run of things. So say for new staff, I make it my mission in the first couple of months that I give time during lunchtime, that's catch-up sessions essentially for them, so that they'll know, because it's nerve-wracking, I suppose, for them to come into school if they haven't used devices at all. And I think that's very, very important.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, look, Michael, that was a fantastic piece. Again, we're so grateful to you for giving us your time and your expertise and for sharing your practice. It's really fascinating. I hope maybe I could sort of reach out to you again on some other areas that we're interested in. You're a breath of fresh air. I can see why the school is doing so well, and the way in which I think you bring the whole school forward. I'm sure it's going to be a school we'll hear a lot more about, and best of luck with all the new endeavours, you know, as you take the school forward. So if there are no particular questions in the chat, then I think we'll close today's session. It will be available on the website and also in the academy. If anybody would like access, you just reach out to us. And if there's anything we can do to support you or your schools, you know, don't hesitate to contact us. Our next webinar, I think, is on student digital competence. And I hope that we'll have students presenting. That's, I think, always a really interesting session if you can join us for that, and that'll be in March, and we'll set the meeting invite and look forward to seeing you there with us again. So thank you again, Michael. Thanks everyone for joining us. It's great to see so many returns, and have a lovely evening, everyone. Thanks again.
All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.